Joining us this morning, Titania Jordan.
Tatiana Jordan. Did I get the name right? Jordan?
Titania.
Titania. Okay. All right.
It's Titania Jordan. I'm here with Cornelius, who, by the way, has a Twitter handle @JC.
It's true.
Which is the coolest thing ever. How did you, so did you have some inside scoop or what?
I was very early.
Okay.
I was at South by Southwest in, I think it was 27 when Twitter actually kind of became a thing. And
Yeah.
I remember hearing about Twitter from old friend of mine, Jeremy Keith. We were at one of the events that people go to, and back then it wasn't as big as it is now. And he said, have you heard of Twitter? And I was like, no, what's Twitter? And he said, drink. What do you mean drink? He's like, it's a drinking game. When somebody says Twitter, you have to drink. I was like, okay, but what is that word you said?
Yeah.
And so that was a good way of kind of building some buzz. And back then it was only text messages, 40404. You texted that and there was no UI, there was nothing.
Wow.
And so I signed up, and I think my first tweet was eating a sandwich, as was most people's first tweets.
Right.
But no, the short story is I've just been around a while. I was one of I think it was like number 800,000 something.
But JC hadn't been taken.
So JC had been taken, but it was taken by mistake. So I talked to a friend of mine who worked at Twitter at the time, and I was like, hey, this is a dead account. Can I have it? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they swapped everything around.
Oh.
The
My gosh.
only one who beat me was Juliet Melton. She has J, just letter J. And ran into her at a conference back in maybe '08, and she wasn't giving it up. So yeah, which, funny story about that. It's actually more problematic than you think, because a lot of people mistake JC for Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a lot of prayers in Portuguese.
That's really
I get
sweet,
a lot
though.
of, and there's also some anime character, or in some, I'm pretty sure it's Japanese TV show, which is abbreviated as the @ symbol and then an English J and an English C. So I get all kinds of crazy tweets that I don't understand. And it's kind of hard to filter the good stuff from the bad stuff.
Well, if it can be built, I think you know how to do that. And
Perhaps.
so, just put it in the queue of things that people want you to build for them.
Yeah, my filter list on Twitter is actually pretty extensive.
I'm pretty sure it is. So I immediately dove into my personal geek out with regards to Cornelius, because I'm all up in social media's business. But for those of you who don't know Jay, he's a brand strategist, an experienced designer, and a business consultant. And Jay, tell us a little bit more about what that means. From the level of, hey, Forbes is going to make you the cover story. Mm-hmm. What are they going to say? What's the lead paragraph about you?
Sure. So the main problem that I solve is helping early stage ideas become real. So you've got an idea, maybe it's on the back of a napkin, and you want to build it into an app. You want to turn a company. How do you do that? What do you need from a technology perspective? What do you need from understanding the market? What do you need from a team building perspective? So we come in from a strategic level, we look at what does it take to make software. How do you make great software? And we understand that from dozens and dozens of years of experience. And if it's an early stage or a growth stage idea, we can typically make it better. If it happens on a screen, we can typically make it better. And it's just a matter of understanding the people who are using things, what their pain points are, what they're going through, what they're trying to accomplish, and then designing something that fits that.
Wow, that was great. That was great. Thank you. That was succinct, powerful, awesome. And I hope to see you on the cover of Forbes.
That'd be great.
Soon.
I missed the under 40, so maybe there's hope for under 50.
Overrated. You have been an entrepreneur since you were a teenager, right? So you've had a lot of wins. Tell us about one that just really hits you in the feels. What's something you're super proud of professionally?
I try not to take too much pride in those wins, because they're always balanced by a bunch of losses.
Yeah.
And it's nice when you see things succeed. right? And it's nice when you give somebody an idea and you see them turn that into something else, or you can solve somebody's business problem, in a 10-minute conversation. Like those little things add up to a big win for me. In terms of big wins, I mean, we could go back to the software days. We started making software in '96 when the web was still very young, and we were figuring out, how do you get the word out? How do you sell software? And back in those days, software was mainly shareware, and you were struggling to sell it for $20.
Wow. And
so we came up with this method, this kind of marketing plan to release 3 pieces of software that were related to each other, kind of a suite, and put together a game, and whoever won the game got a big prize. And so you had to download all 3 pieces of software, and you had to do certain things within the software to unlock clues, which would eventually help you win the game, right? And so that took us from about $80,000 in revenue a month, and we did $300,000 days. We did 3 days of $300,000 sales consecutively.
Wow.
Because we just figured out the way people think and created something that would entertain them and that they would also get value from. So I think that's a lesson that I brought with me all these years, is if you figure out what people really want and you figure out a way to give it to them and a way to capture business value along the way, you're going to get a win.
Oh my gosh, you have just inspired me. My wheels are turning. I can think of a few things we can tweak at Bark.
There's plenty of stuff to tweak.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, and that's one thing that a lot of people get caught up in, is they get caught up in the release, right? And that, oh, okay, now here's this version. Software versioning and that type of, it's dead. Software is a living thing. It's never done. There's always room to improve something. And what's really remarkable is with a lot of clients, we see that a very small kind of low-hanging fruit style improvement can yield enormous benefits. So just changing this one thing, unlocks all this value for the customer, and then revenue grows as a result.
Oh, that's so great. What are some business problems that you solve? Like if I'm a business and I'm like, this Jay Cornelius guy is really cool. I want him to solve my problem. What problems do you solve?
What kind of problems? So the problems are typically measured in things like people aren't making it all the way through a process. So maybe you've got a shopping cart, you can't figure out why people are abandoning at the checkout phase. Maybe you've got a product that you get a lot of downloads, but you don't get a lot of repeat uses. Maybe you've got a product that has been around a while, and you've started to see usage drop, right? So how do you turn that around? How do you take an existing product that's working in one market and apply it to another market? So take something and go sideways, or go to a different part of the world, or go to a different type of user. Those are all things where it's essentially looking at who's the market, what do they want, how do they get things done, where's their pain point, and identifying a way to solve that. And they're all essentially the same problem, and they manifest themselves in different ways.
Wow. You have a podcast, Design Driven.
Yep. Which you've been a guest on.
I've been a guest on, thank you. And you're now in your 3rd season. And so if people would like to subscribe to it and listen to it, how do they find it?
Designdriven.biz
okay.
is the easiest way to get there. You can also go to the Twitter handle you mentioned earlier.
At JC.
That you can find through either 9 Labs, the company, or through my personal site. There's links to it. And then I tweet about it. So it's pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Talk about 9 Labs.
So 9 Labs is a product strategy consulting company. We're focused on early and growth stage ideas, not companies, because that could be a startup who's just coming up out of the ground, or it could be a giant company who wants to launch something new. So the idea is that if you've got something that you are struggling to figure out how to bring it to market, or struggling to get it into that growth phase, that's where we can come in and provide a lot of product strategy around how to do that. How to reconfigure interfaces or build them from scratch. How to better understand people's needs and wants so you can build something that satisfies them. And then we help you, we can help source a team through companies like 3CI. We partner with 3CI on that type of thing. We can help you understand how to build an organization that's a good functional product team. So how to make product, user experience, and development all work together as one cohesive unit and create something that people actually love.
That's huge. How long has 9 Labs existed?
We just turned 6. Yeah, so we made it over the hump, the 5-year hump.
Yay, that's great.
Yeah, so we're almost a grown-up.
Getting there.
We're in our adolescent phase, so we still got, kind of lanky, we're figuring things out, but it's all good.
I'm going to read this testimonial about you that's on your website.
Oh,
so
boy.
I'm gonna brag on you a little bit. Okay. So this is from Nick Fink, product design manager of Facebook. For Jay, nothing is impossible. He's motivated and knows how to get things done, even on ridiculously short notice, where others may likely fail. Jay has a great eye for the small details, but never forgets the high-level strategy and vision. He has a sense of leadership that is unparalleled to any other I have seen in my career history. He's honest and is not afraid to tell you like it is, but he also encourages everyone to participate and voice their opinions. Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Thanks, Nick. Wherever you are.
Yeah, but that encompasses you so well, so much better than some intro I could do for you.
Well, thank you.
You are just a solid, crazy smart human, more smart than crazy.
I don't know about that.
But it's just really cool to be doing what you're doing in Atlanta. Obviously, you travel around, but you're based here in Atlanta, and that says a lot about the fact, about the opportunity that exists here.
Yeah, absolutely. I was born in Athens, not too far away, so I kind of consider myself an Atlanta native, which is rare, I think.
Yeah.
What I think Atlanta offers that a lot of other cities don't is a higher quality of lifestyle at a regular price tag. And you can come here and live a good life and be around lots of smart people like yourself and other people in the community and do great work. And it's not like you're living in a petri dish, you're living in this echo chamber, because there's so many other diverse types of businesses here that you can learn from and that you can in turn help.
Yeah.
So it's a really great place to be in business.
I agree. Jay and I seem to be on the same sort of life path, at least for where we end up at certain times.
Yeah.
I'll look on his Twitter and I'm like, oh, you're on this airplane, the same one I am, headed to New York. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we're at the Atlanta United game.
Well, and as it turns out, we were in the same row.
We were in the same
on opposite
row,
sides of the
y'all,
plane.
Straight up. Like, I'm one of those people that believes everything happens for a reason, and I think that happened for a reason. Like, we had this great conversation about door handles.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about the Norman door.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what the Norman door is, if you've ever walked up to a door and it had the bar and you went to push it and it didn't go because it was a pull, that's the Norman door problem. Don Norman was one of the guys who was instrumental in founding the field of user experience. It's like, how do people think about things? You have to match the way people think about things in order to design things that are useful for them.
It sounds so simple, yet it is very complex.
So incredibly hard to do.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's where the magic is taking something very complex and making it so simple that a 2-year-old can use. Thank you, iPhone. So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
where we are. And it's such a fun space to play in.
Anybody can make something complicated.
Yes.
It takes somebody who's willing to put in the effort to figure out how to make it simple and easy to use for somebody else.
How do you stay motivated, inspired, keep learning?
I think that's just an innate trait. I'm just curious. I'm just a curious person. And when I see a problem, I generally just kind of want to solve it. My mom got super mad at me when I was like 6 years old because she bought me this big like G.I. Joe robot remote control tank for Christmas. And Christmas package opening has done. I went back to my room. And she comes into my room about an hour later, and it's in parts all over the floor, right? And I had gone so far as like lay out the white sheet and like position everything, so I knew where it would go, how to put it back together. And she screamed at me, and she was like, "If you don't put that thing back together," you can imagine a mom screaming, right?
Yeah.
And a couple hours later, I remote controlled it back into the living room. I was just curious, how did the thing work? And so when I see business problems, like we've evolved that into business problems and user experience problems, like even something as simple as the Norman door, there are ways to solve things if you just put enough thought into it. And that's just an internal curiosity that I have. It's like, how do you make something better? How do you make, and I've devoted my life to doing things with screens and apps, so how do you make that better? How do you make that easier for somebody? Just a couple days ago, I was at a doctor's office observing nurses do some of their job. And I was watching how they have this tablet but they're still writing down vitals on a piece of paper and then going over here and entering it on the tablet.
Double work.
So I asked, why are you doing that twice? And he's like, well, I can't hold the tablet and do the thing. I was like, well, what would make that, how might you solve that? She's like, it'd be awesome if I could just talk to it. Boom. And now, there's a business around voice recognition of vitals, like blood pressure, 108/80. That's not hard to understand. Siri can figure that out. Why can't you just go in the app? Why can't it just be that simple?
Yeah. Why have to do anything manually?
But I guarantee you that hospital system spent millions of dollars on iPads that nobody's actually using.
Yeah. There are, just like you said, a million ways to make a million things better. And it's so much fun to play in that space.
Yeah. Another good example, I was at a hackathon. No, it wasn't a hackathon. It was like a startup battle kind of thing. This company was, part of their business model is providing information to people. I won't go into what it is, but providing information to people based on their location. And so they're building this complex website, and it's like, oh, well, you just go here and you put in your zip code and it gives you all this information. I'm like, why are you building a website for that? Why don't you just do it over text message? You can text your zip code to a number and it responds with the information.
Yeah.
It's an interface people already know, already use. It's cheap. You could probably do it at a hackathon in a day. And well, then how would we make money? It's like, well, you're making recommendations for people to buy a product, right? Yeah. Well, then they can't buy it over text message. No, but you can send them an Amazon affiliate link. Take the margin, be done with it. Build it in a day. Get it out there, see if it works. Then see if you can build a company from it.
Mailbox money.
That's right. Find the simplest way it can possibly work and build up from there.
Oh, I love that. One of the reasons I love Atlanta is the sense of community. People just want to help just because, right?
Yeah.
And so
Southern hospitality.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so I love to ask people who sit in that chair, what can we do for you? How can we help you? How can we pour into you, help you with any problem you're trying to solve? As a problem solver, probably not many. Just anything. Is there any way that we can rally around you and support you?
I think you're already doing it, honestly. You're doing a lot for the community. There's a lot of other people who are doing cool things for the community. I'm good. I'm in a good spot. I really am. And I'm not saying that to brag or anything, but I feel like I've got a great life. I've got first world problems, right? I know where I'm going to sleep at night. I know where my next meal is coming from. I'm doing work that I love.
You're healthy.
I'm healthy.
The sun's out.
Yeah. So at least for this moment in time, I'm good. So
Good.
I'm just thankful for that.
Good. Well, I'm very thankful for that as well. And I want to tell everybody who's watching, we'll have the links below, but it's jcornelius.com. It's 9 Labs. Follow Jay on Twitter at JC. Still geeking out over that. And just thank you. Thank you for making time to come here. I know you're super busy being on our show, sharing what you know. And I look forward to not only calling you a friend, but being able to work with you on some really cool projects.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Awesome.
And we'll bump into each other on a flight to LaGuardia soon.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jay.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.